Well, hello, Stacey Murphy here with a quick video on planting your seeds now for your fall crops. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, this is what we're thinking of. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're probably thinking about creating your crop plan for the spring, but this will apply to you for the end of your season when you get to it. So here's the question that I get a lot from people. So when do I plant my fall crops? Let's say I have an area where it's warm in the summer and it's warm enough in the fall to grow some cold weather crops, but I do have a winter that's going to approach. We're going to get below freezing, so I want to make sure I get my crops in time so that I get them to harvest before winter. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to take out your calendar. You're going to look online and you're going to find out your average first frost date for your area. So let's say that your average first frost date is November 1st. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to then subtract off 2 weeks. So what I want you to do then is to think of October 15th, just for now, think of it as your day at which it could potentially frost. And here's why. So when you're planning for your winter vegetables, what will happen is the days are going to get shorter, and so the number of hours of sun is going to get less. Also, the sun, instead of being high in the sky, it's going to be lower in the sky, and so your plants are going to receive less sunlight throughout the day. And so what happens, and it's getting colder. I think I already mentioned that, maybe I didn't. And so what happens is those plants are going to start to slow down their growth. So during the springtime, you know your plants are going to ramp up because it's getting warmer and warmer, but in the winter it's going to get slower and slower. So the number of days to maturity for broccoli, let's say it's 60 days, and you want to know, when do I plant my broccoli so that I harvest a head of broccoli before the fall frost comes? So you basically want to take your frost date, which we said was November 1st. You're going to take 2 weeks off of that. You're going to say, okay, now it's October 15th, because those 2 weeks, what it accounts for is the slowing down process that happens in the fall. So it's kind of a buffer zone for you. So then you take October 15th and you back up 2 months, 60 days. So you go October 15th, you go to September 15th, and then you go to August 15th. So your date to plant that broccoli is August 15th for those dates. Now, when I say the days to maturity are 60 days and you want to plant on August 15th, do you want to plant a transplant or do you want to plant a seed? So I get that question all the time. And if it's August 15th and it's 90 degrees out or 100 degrees out, how do I plant my seeds, right? So first thing I would say is that I would prefer that you plant a transplant on August 15th, because really that maturity date is, for a plant like broccoli, it's more about the maturity date from being a full-grown transplant. And I know it's weird that we talk about plants this way, but root vegetables and lettuces, where we plant a seed, we talk about the days to maturity as being from that seed date to its final maturity. But a lot of other crops, for whatever reason, the general consensus is that the days to maturity is from the transplant and not necessarily from the seed. So you want to be putting that seedling in the ground. A full-blown seedling is like 6 inches tall, about this tall, and you want to plant that on August 15th. Now, it's going to be pretty hot, so you're going to want to make sure you're watering it well because you don't want it to die. It's still a baby, right? Now, if you want to plant it as a seed, you've got to back up another about 5 weeks for broccoli. And so that would put you July 10th or so, or 9th or something, which is already potentially in the past. So you can see why knowing all of these times are so important. So what I like to do with my fall crops is I actually like to know what's available at my local nursery as transplants, so that I know what I'm going to put in the ground. I know they have them, and so I can go and pick them up and plop them in at the right date. But if they don't have them, then I know I have to grow them from seed. So if you're trying to grow from seed at a really hot time of the season, that gets even trickier. So let's say you needed to plant your seed on August 15th and it's like 90 degrees or 95 degrees. So a couple of tricks to do this, and this is not everything you could try, but this is a couple tricks. Seeds want the top of the bed to be moist all the time. You want that seed to stay moist, otherwise it's going to die. And it doesn't yet have all its root systems in order to pick up water. So one suggestion is to plant those seeds along your drip irrigation line where you know there's water coming out, and you can transplant them later if you like. So you can just transplant them along that line. Maybe they stay there for their full life, or maybe you move them somewhere else later. The second idea is to mulch heavily. So to mulch, you want to water the whole area, make sure the soil's nice and moist, plant the seed, mulch like an inch, let's say, maybe even 2 inches, and water that really well. Water the mulch really well too. You want to make sure you water the soil first and then the mulch, because you don't want the soil to be totally dry, because the moisture from the mulch is going to take a while to move into that soil. So now your seed is deeper, and what that means is that it's going to benefit from the moisture, and it's also going to benefit from not being on the surface where the temperatures are the hottest. So oftentimes farmers in the mid-season when it's really hot, if they're trying to plant radish seeds or they're trying to plant turnip seeds or whatever the case may be, they're basically going to plant a little bit deeper, because what they know is that that surface is almost like air temperatures, like 90 degrees, but below that might be the ideal, like 75, 80 degrees. So you want to go a little bit deeper than what you normally plant those seeds in order for those temperatures to be right for germination. So those are a couple of tips and tricks, and for some of you it may be too late to seed directly for the fall for some of those crops, but it is not too late to get those transplants in the ground and have a bountiful harvest this fall. All right, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.